Hello, all you beautiful ladies and classy gentlemen. We are actually trying something a little bit different today. I figured I would try the first live stream of the channel in regards to not only our celebration of our first 100 subs. There are more than 100 of you patrons now, and I wanted to not only thank everyone for joining the squad, and I'm looking forward to producing hopefully some entertaining and quality programming. This is obviously a little bit different than my normal setup. I'm normally used to creating scripts and storytelling, but this kind of puts me on the spot, so it's a little bit of a learning curve for me as I try to understand the different types of tools that are set in front of me in order to be able to do some live streaming, as it were. While I'm on, if some of you pop on, that's great. If not, you can catch this on the replay. I wanted to go over my first 50 videos and then just kind of give some of my thoughts in regards to it. And then if you all could possibly share some of the things that you liked or in particular disliked about it, it allows me to make adjustments or tweaks where needed. As far as the first 50 videos go, we had quite a bit of different selection in regards to actual filming, podcast setups, stop motion, um, different types of editing and mix-ups or mashups, as I like to call them, and of course, standard video. We're going to go ahead and start with the top one, meaning the first one that I actually ever posted. It was the welcome screen. This one I actually gave a lot of thought to on when I first wanted to do this. Uh, the main reason why I don't show my face, and it isn't necessarily that I'm scared to show my face. I personally don't have anything to hide, but as far as the types of job or the type of job that I do, it can be quite challenging with what's political or what's not political in the environment in general, and I wanted to be able to freely discuss issues that I saw in our community and hopefully provide not only a little bit of entertainment or comedy, but also be able to speak on these subjects um, without worry of either my current employer or maybe it's management or upper leadership coming after me because of whatever that was said or inferred. So that's why I specifically chose the uh, oops, I did not mean to click that, but that's fine. The marionette style of the presenter, and I actually haven't even thought of a name for this character. I thought about either calling him the face or the speaker. However, I still haven't named this individual character, but he's going to have actually quite a story to tell or origin story that I have in mind and that I've been working on over time. So it should be really interesting to see how that turns out. But I figured as far as the things that I try to do, not only in my community, but also a conversation that I had, I believe it was on Before the Billions, we were talking about not only high value men or high value women, kind of getting rid of that specific buzzword and using words people who have high utility. And I think understanding the difference in between the two, especially for those of you that have seen Kevin Samuels videos, there's very much a split in between people who enjoy watching Kevin Samuels videos and people who despise watching Kevin Samuels videos. And again, my channel is kind of a neutral conversation ground where I wanted to be able to have these free or open conversations where we can actually discuss these things without saying what's good or what's bad. Uh, while the majority of people will agree that the average person wants to choose what's best not only for themselves or for their community, whatever that definition may be, I think there are sporadically going to be individuals, both good and bad, that kind of take it to the extreme. So I think with that being said, it's important to acknowledge not only, I guess if you want to call it the far left or the far right, or men or women, or those that are for something or against something, to really have an open ear, take a moment to take a deep breath and really understand where the other person is coming from, and then from there to really try to take the first step in order to make sure that there's a green. Oh, hello, welcome there. Hello to you too as well. I appreciate you coming in. I'm just kind of going over lots of different discussions. We're having our first 100 sub celebration and kind of going over some of these different videos here. So I appreciate you coming in. I'm always happy to serve, and you're always welcome here. We actually discuss various topics, some controversial, others are more light-hearted in general, but I like to think that we can all come together regardless if we agree or disagree, and hopefully come to, I guess, some sort of step forward as far as progress. So that was the reason why I decided to create the marionette as far as the speaker. And again, it's just something that I thought would be really good because it not only provides me with a little bit of ease or lack of pressure from my current employer. While I doubt they would come after me, it's better to be safe than sorry. And then also, I believe this kind of style marionette or butler, it allows my listeners, both men and women, to kind of imagine whoever is speaking to them, whoever they feel most comfortable. And again, I'd like to, oh, thank you very much. Again, I'd like to think that, I'm not the ugliest man on the block. I'm definitely not the prettiest. I don't get paid for looking the way I do, but I like to think that, being average or slightly above average is always a nice thing. Again, Miss Sophia, thank you. I appreciate the congratulations in regards to 100 subs. Hopefully we can keep the momentum going. However, I would like to say up front, even if we do become big, or even if we don't become big, I'm very happy with where we're at now. And if I can continue to bring the same type of quality going forward with videos that everyone not only enjoys but appreciates, I'll be satisfied with that. It's one of those things that I thought that I had a voice that I could possibly share to our community. And while I do enjoy meeting new people and talking to different people, it's just one of those things. If you're not out there trying to share information with people, then information is almost dead information, because if I don't try to teach someone else or show them, this is what worked for me, and if you decide, it's not something that you want to do, just take it with a grain of salt. But a little bit of advice is always good, but we definitely want to make sure that we're at least passing something positive on to not only the current generation, but the next generation as well. So let me check here. Stop beating yourself up. I enjoy people inside out. Well, I definitely appreciate it. And with that being said, as a celebration, I'm going to treat myself to a watermelon flavored Red Bull. This is not sponsored for the channel, but my two favorite beverages, if I had to choose, is either coffee or either coffee or watermelon flavored Red Bull. I think it's I don't necessarily think it's the sugar, because I like more cream in my coffee than or milk in my coffee than sugar. But I think in between having something that's a warm, relaxing beverage and then mixing it up every once in a while is definitely nice. I would not recommend that people drink energy drink in general, because it's a good way to rot your teeth. However, it's just one of those things that in moderation, anything can be good or bad. So, well, I think that's more important than anything, Sophie, is definitely, it's one thing to be said that it's almost impossible to be positive all the time, but I feel when you're meeting people, it's definitely important not to be purposefully negative. And I think people can definitely appreciate uh, not only when having conversations, but when you get an opportunity to meet someone, it's always nice to surround yourselves with people who are either going the same speed or that are easygoing in general, just so you can have either open conversations and I don't know, just kind of get a feel for the situation or for the person. So it's definitely always great. Um, so let me go ahead and open this up real quick. Take my little sip here. Oh yes, very refreshing. Let's go to the number two. The number two video that I posted, and again, there was actually a big lapse in between these first two videos because I had quite a bit of content, but I was kind of unsure with as far as the direction that I was going to go. If you notice, these two videos were posted on November 13th, and then there is like 11-day delay in between my second and third. And of course, the style of content dramatically changed in between. We not only have our first intro video, but also the podcast video that was with Hanzo 13, when drug dealers buy exotic pets. It's an incredible story. I would recommend it. It's on my playlist for bartender's recommendation. It is not a story of the faint of heart, so I would not recommend anyone listen to this story unless you can just accept it as it is and just kind of get a feel for the situation. Um, it's a very absurd story, but when I first heard it, I knew it was a story that should be shared to people who are willing to listen to it. However, it is not a story for the faint of heart. Hanzo 13 is a reformed ex-gang member. I won't say the affiliation of which gang he was a part of, but he's a really down-to-earth guy. He does exceptionally well with children after he became a father, and we may actually do a story regarding that. That way we can get him back up here and kind of share more of the stories. But he's come a long way since all the interviews and podcasts that I did with him. So again, if it's something for you, I would definitely listen to it. If it's not for you, no hard feelings. Let's go to the third and fourth video. Now, the third and fourth video are technically more or less the same. There's a difference of roughly 43 seconds in between the two. This was my first stop motion animation that I actually published. Excuse me. Stop motion animation that I originally published. And it was probably the third stop motion video that I had ever created overall. Um, Again, at this time, roughly 2 months ago, I had never done stop animation before. And the one thing that was actually kind of interesting when I was making this happen was I had never done it before, so it was kind of like building an airplane and flying at the same time. And I wanted to take this story, and if you recognize the background for any of you that are sub to ABBA and Preach, this is actually ABBA and Preach's background that I had to recreate using I think many of their videos, since usually either ABBA or Preach are occupying these two spaces here. And I had to kind of use some Photoshop and Illustrator to kind of piece this whole thing together because I was having a hard time finding a video that would show the complete background. But if you look right here, this Lego figurine is supposed to be Preach. This one is, of course, ABBA. And as you can tell, because of the green screen that I'm using in the background, they unfortunately look white. And they don't even look the standard Lego color, which is the standard Lego yellow, which was kind of a fail on my part. But again, I was trying to experiment with new things using green screen technology. So I eventually do want to get these two figurines more accurate, but it's to me when I see these two, it's I think it's absolutely hilarious because uh, to be able just to see either characters, whether it's movies and films, or anything like that. It's always nice to be able to at least somewhat recognize them. And while, the actual toy skin color unfortunately doesn't match, the original people that it's trying to portray, and in one of my videos I kind of yeah, it's okay. It's the thought that counts. Well, I appreciate it, Sophia. I appreciate the leniency not only from you, but also my other subscribers and viewers. I think with a little bit of imagination, the story kind of carries itself if it's a story of quality. So it's just one of those things that, under the limited Lego figurines that I could find in my area, and given I've been doing this now for roughly 2 or 3 months, I was having the worst time even finding African American figurines, and I was looking all over the place for them. I was looking at them in Walmart. I was looking at them in other toy stores. I was looking for like the Marvel Wakanda characters. I was looking for just literally anything, and after I had created these first two videos, I actually started hand painting my figures to make them more accurate. And that leads us to our fifth video, which is the Kevin Samuels, Your Average at Best Lego Stop Motion video. Uh, this one, this one, I was unsure on how people would receive it. Um, what I ended up doing, and again, with the trouble that I was having finding Lego figurines that were actually more accurate, I think this isn't even a Lego figurine. This is actually two figurines put together, I believe. I believe the arms and the body are Lego, but the top is like a knockoff Lego. I'm trying to think of what the name of it is. I think it's Creo, Kreo. Again, not sponsored by the channel, but I was at a dollar store and I found this Lego or this knockoff Lego figurine, and I bought it on a whim, and I ended up hand painting this thing with a push pin or a thimble, using hand paints. And I not only painted the hair, I painted the beard, I did the eyebrows. The eyes were an absolute nightmare. I did not record when I painted this. I should have, just so all my subscribers could really understand the nightmare that this was to really try to undergo trying to paint something that small using something that's not meant to be used as a paintbrush is I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the challenge, and I'm very happy with what it turned into. Um, Especially with, not only just this video. I think he's more recognizable than the Abba and Preach characters. He could be better, but the one things that I'm not really happy with the Creo knockoff Lego figurines versus the actual Lego figurines. If you take a look at their heads, the Lego figurines are actually kind of a. If you take a square and round the edges, so it's kind of like a perfect rounded square. If you take a look at the Creo style Lego figurines, they have this very, uh, how do I explain this? Their heads are just weird. I'm trying to see if I can find a good example without anything unwanted or unnecessary popping up. But if we take a look at this picture right here, this is actually one of the best case scenario heads. Like, the heads normally look like a little bean or a little, um, like a squash. And I had to clean this up quite a bit. That way it was more of the shape, and in between building the hair and everything, it looks a little bit more natural. This line right here is actually the way that it came. So I wasn't overly pleased with that, but again, you can kind of tell in some angles, and other angles you can't really tell so much. Like at this angle, you can't even tell, but I think that's one of the things that I'm very not happy with Legos in general. I think there's definitely lots of variety in the standard as far as, the uh, I'd hate to call them, white Legos, but the ones that portray either Asian or Caucasian people, it seems like there's more variety in those than the African American set, which made me quite sad. And now that I actually know how to do digital faces for when I do these videos, it not only improves the type of quality that I can give you guys when we're actually doing these skits, whether it's, famous people or anything like that, it's also nice to know that I don't have to necessarily go through all this trouble, like with the eyes and everything. So, the only thing that's animated on the Kevin Samuels figurine, other than obviously the stop motion, I use a digital software to put in the mouth to make him talk. So that mouth right there is all digital. It's actually not written on there. It saves me lots of time and it allows me to do a lot with it. So now that I actually have true African American figurines, I can actually start doing some stuff with not only iconic characters, actors, um, famous people and whatnot, and actually start my storytelling a little bit better. So this video was great. I actually did a review of that video right here behind the animation, Kevin Samuels, average at best. Uh, it shows not only some of the green screen usage that I use for creating a lot of these shorts that that my subs enjoy, or at least I hope you guys enjoy. Feel free to leave a comment not only to this video but also in there. Miss Sophia, thank you very much. It's always one of those things that I'm okay with making mistakes, and um, I'm okay with making mistakes, but as long as I'm making progress, getting experience, and moving forward, even if it takes me a year or a couple years to improve, then I can be satisfied knowing that my quality's increasing, even if it's, 1% or a half a percent. So I'm learning things quite quickly on the fly, but every time that I create a video, or like today's the first live stream, I like to think that while structurally it's a mess, I'm definitely going to learn something at the end of the day, and hopefully, the next time I do a live stream, it'll be that much better. For the next two videos, the short and the long, and you may actually see a pattern in between some of these videos. Some of these videos I actually released them as a YouTube short, and then others I actually released it as a full video, even though it's, less than 60 seconds. And the reason why I did that is because I was unsure on whether the people who would actually sub to my channel, I was unsure if you'd be watching via cell phone, which of course your phone will cut it off here, or if you're watching it on your computer, TV, and it allows you to not only do a full screen expansion regarding what it is that you can see. Again, I've been trying to not only release the same style content for depending upon if my viewers use cell phone, and then also releasing it, roughly about the same time frame. Usually I wait maybe 12 hours in between releasing the standard version versus the YouTube short version. But for those of you that like to watch via your phone, like say if you're laying in bed, which I occasionally do. It's nice to have your phone propped up on your side and then watch the video versus if you're actually sitting down at your computer and enjoying it there or whatever's most comfortable for you. Uh, Let me enjoy a little bit of my watermelon Red Bull real quick, and then we will continue on. One thing I've kind of noticed that I've also been experimenting with trying to understand the algorithm, trying to understand the YouTube algorithm. I've noticed, and I've also been trying experiments with different tags and different keywords for these videos. Some of the keywords absolutely exploded on the YouTube Shorts as the YouTube Short shelf picks up videos a little bit more often than not. And other videos did extremely well as the standard video. I think it's great to experiment, but at the same time, for those of you subscribed, please understand I'm not trying to purposely troll you by having two of the same video being released. Again, just imagine if there's several other subscribers in the room, and some people prefer beer, other people prefer a cocktail. I'm just trying to give you what you want, so to speak. So um, I know there are some challenges. Obviously, if you're looking for something fresh, there may be a little bit of a delay involved, but in general, I think I'm just trying to be transparent with what it is that I'm trying to do, and just please understand I'm not trying to troll you by releasing uh, the same video. And there's been some videos where I only released as one versus releasing it both in standard and in the full version if you use computer. Regarding these videos, the Fresh and Fit Abba and Preach, Kevin Samuels, and the Liz Cambage videos, I would say out of these, I definitely enjoyed making the Kevin Samuels video. I purposely released it on the anniversary when his original video, Average at Best, was created, and I figured that he would probably talk about the subject once more, which is why I not only planned on creating the video, but also released it on the date. Um, it seems extremely positive as far as people that like the video. I know there's eventually going to be people that don't necessarily enjoy the video just because they hate Kevin Samuels, and I have no problem with that. However, I think it summarizes what is a 16-minute original video, and I summarized it in 60 seconds. So it was a little bit challenging to make it coherent, and as far as I know, Kevin Samuels has never seen this video. Uh, Kevin Samuels, if you ever watch this video, I'd just be curious to hear if you liked it or disliked it and why. I'd be okay if you told me you hate my guts because you hate this video or if you thought it was crap, but I would just really like to know if you think this video was good or not, and then if you can just tell me why. That would really not necessarily satisfy my ego, but I always wonder when you portray videos of people. And again, this video was more or less a very mild parody. However, the conversations that Kevin Samuels has can be viewed very harshly by either men or women, depending upon if you're for or against Kevin Samuels. But I think as far as explaining what people saw as far as the message and how it was portrayed, as well as being, a parody recreation of what the original video was, it is what it is, and I think it's enjoyable in that sense, and I'd be curious to hear what he has to say. The Elizabeth Cambage videos, I personally don't have any opinion regarding men or women that do use OnlyFans, and I don't think of her any differently, or anyone else that does use OnlyFans. And according to, if we take a look here, we're shooting at an 83% like ratio. I know there was going to be some people that thought that I was going to be trolling OnlyFans. I think that's one of those things that you have to really have an honest either conversation or think about by yourself with, as well as with your family, and where exactly do you draw the line. So if I personally had a choice, I'll go on record on my thoughts, but again, just to vouch, as far as if it were friends of me or family members other than direct family members, I think I would be cool with the idea. If it was someone that was directly related to me, I think that's when the conversation becomes extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. Whether it's a mother, father, a son or a child, or a significant other, such as a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, or wife. I think, to be extremely honest and forthright regarding this topic, in regards to how I feel, I think when it comes to relationships in general, your significant other, whoever you choose to be, regardless if you're straight, gay, or however, what you classify yourself as, you're the person you choose to be is either a direct or indirect reflection of who you are as a person. And I know that is a very huge generalization to say, but just kind of hear me out on this. I think if we can agree that if most people, and again, we're just going to make this as general as possible, for the people who definitely want to be in a relationship for the long haul, we're not going to talk about, uh, let's not talk about disposable relationships, one night stands, or anyone else that chooses to live that lifestyle. Let's just say for the people who want to eventually be with somebody, whether you choose to get married, choose not to get married, or however you're going to define the relationship. I think that this individual that you choose to be with, to share your life with, your intimacy with, or your however you act when you're inside your home relaxed and all you have is that one somebody who you can totally be yourself with. That person is, hopefully, I would think you would choose that person to be a direct reflection of you, or at least they would fill in the gap that you they would complement you in order to make it a better way of explaining it. Say for example, if I'm good at math but I'm terrible when it comes to I'm a terrible communicator. Let's just say I don't communicate well in social environments. Hopefully not only finding someone that is a kind person at heart, but can really understand me for who I am and help me with the things that I struggle with. You would hope that people would choose someone that is not only a reflection of them, but also they complement them in a positive manner. And with that as the what we're going to accept to really have this discussion, when someone that you have that is that close and they make uh, how do I want to word this? I'm treading very carefully here. When they make decisions where they're sharing the best parts of themselves with other people, then it's only natural as a human to be jealous. or to feel as if the other person is, what is the word? Betraying you, I guess would be the best way to explain it. And I think from my personal standpoint, and again, we're just using generalizations here, I think that would be the biggest hurdle that I personally would have to overcome if I was seriously dating someone and they chose to make that choice or to do that lifestyle. It would definitely be a there would definitely be a conversation to be had. However, it's important to really have these discussions ahead of time and when you're moving forward. Yes, Miss Sophia, that's true. You have to have an open mind in order to keep moving forward. And I think that's one of the things that it's definitely hard when you're meeting someone new and creating a new type of relationship with someone. Definitely the discovery portion of the relationship is definitely interesting because, you know, you get the jitters or uh, usually in the beginning portions of relationships, in general, people are more considerate. They want to lead off on the good, foot. And then over time, when whether positive or negative couples or people together, they become comfortable. And then that's when, you start to notice the cracks on the wall. And that's not to say that all cracks are bad. I think understanding and acknowledging the cracks can be extremely healthy as long as, you bring them to the conversation in a proper manner. I'm not saying that you go into, your friends or loved one's house and be like, damn, your house is messed up. You got all these cracks in the wall. Nothing like that. It's just, I understand, or I've noticed that when we were talking, I saw this individual crack or I had this concern and I wanted to address it just because I care about you and uh, I wanted you to feel comfortable sharing what it was that you had with me and just trying to start a conversation, I guess, on a neutral ground. And while the other person may be utterly surprised, especially if they didn't think that you would notice it immediately, and again, I think timing is really important when having very, what's the word? Very fragile conversations. It's still really important to acknowledge them as far as having, a growth or a relationship with another person. So, uh, with that being said, I'm very surprised that we took this turn. We initially started off with just reviewing our 50 videos, and now we're talking about OnlyFans and having intimate relationships in regards to it with your significant other. So, uh, for those that are watching this after the fact, if you're enjoying this type of content or if it's way off into right field, leave a comment down in the comments section of this video. It allows me to not only create new content that hopefully you'll enjoy, but keeping it in line with not only what you subscribed for, but again, I think having these conversations, not only within our community on this channel, can definitely be healthy. Um, I think it also allows me to hear from you all as well. And while we're still a very small channel, we only, as of today, have, I believe, 126 subscribers. And again, I appreciate all of you. I still have not unlocked the community tab, so it's a little bit difficult for me to communicate with you all and then you all to communicate back with me. So on videos like this, if I do decide to do live streams in the future, or if there's a general video, if something comes to mind, feel free to leave a comment. It allows me to not only to hear your voice, to acknowledge, maybe some suggestions that you have for future content, or if you'd like to have, a particular conversation when and if I do a future live stream in the future, then we can address all the questions and conversations that you all have. So, with that being said, let's go back. We left off on, which number is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Video number 7. So on to video number 8. The Jussie Smollett video, the reverse Nigerian prince scam. This topic is a very sensitive topic, and I was trying to tread very carefully when I spoke about it, but at the same time, let me start over. I'm very happy when I see other people in the African American community be successful in some way, shape, or form. They can be themselves. And again, I'm speaking prior to the events that happened in regards to Jussie Smollett. Him being an actor, him being on TV, him allowing, him being himself as far as, what he decides to do as a man. But also, I think it's important for not only people in the African American community to uplift each other and to set a good example for each other. And that's really where I created this specific video in general. It wasn't to be malicious towards Jussie. It's more so, while I consider myself African American, I can't imagine trying to put a accusation on someone that is African, like African, and accusing them of foul play in this scenario. And again, there's a lot of information out there, and while some of the information is accurate, there's a lot of inaccurate information. I think it's still, if we look at the bottom line of this scenario, we need to set the best example for both our brothers and sisters in our community. It's important to also address issues that we see in the community. So again, while I personally don't have or don't hold any malicious attitude towards Jussie, I think while this video is only 16 seconds, this specific video or meme that I created towards this scenario in general is kind of the summary of kind of my thoughts of my problem with what occurred, I guess, is the best way to explain it. So, if I had children and I saw this or they saw this on TV, I wouldn't even know how to begin to explain this particular situation, but it's just one of those things that, yeah, I have no clue. I think I'll table that conversation and we'll save that for another day, because I would probably sit here for at least 5 to 10 minutes thinking how I would probably try to start that conversation to have with a child to explain this type of scenario. So that was number 8. Should probably write this down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that was number 8. Okay, the number 9 video, Star Wars Kylo Ren meme. I know what I have to do. I'm going to skip these two and we will come back here in 1 minute. Let's skip to the Sierra Balance Challenge. Sierra Balance Challenge Twerking Prey. This particular video actually had, there was a huge divide between both conservative men and women in the African American community, and youth and older men and women, in regards to her twerking, wearing just a skirt with a bottle on the beach. And the reason why I created this video was both Sierra and her husband claim to be devout Christians, saying that they actually pray every morning. And I have no objections to anyone's personal beliefs, which religion they practice or anything like that, but there's there's something very two-faced about making such a claim where if you claim to be a devout Christian, it's also important to be humble or come from a place of humility. But as an adult, I respect what she does. And again, we're just here to start conversations. So if her husband is okay with her dancing, even though she's facing away, and I personally don't think there's, anything shown, either YouTube or someone flagged this particular video for being inappropriate. And I know at one time you had to be 18 or older to watch this particular video. And the video of her, I believe, is only 4 seconds. But it makes me wonder if the person flagged it because they thought it was inappropriate because she was shaking her booty, or the fact that she's doing her booty shaking around uh, a Lego Jesus on a crucifix. So again, the end of the video is saying, making the best choices. I pray for you, Sierra. As soon as I pray for myself. I personally am a Christian, and while I believe there are some things that you should and shouldn't do, this was kind of one of the things that I was very torn between, because it's important to have a conversation. However, you should not purposely do things that are malicious towards, God if you believe in God. So it's one of those things that whether, morally or, my religious, and I'm not trying to say this like, oh, I'm a huge religious person. It's more so I'm both spiritual and religious, and I believe that if we're only here for an instant, there hopefully is something that's greater than us that we can look up to, is probably what summarizes the spiritual portion that I really take to heart. I think something really can be said walking through life and being humble as well as being appreciative towards others. Because I'll be honest, you know, if when I die and I go to meet my maker, if I find out that there's nothing there, part of me will be very sad. But at the same time, I'll be dead, so I won't really, I don't think I'll be overly concerned. But I like to believe that there's something that we as people, or we as a human race, are preparing or growing towards, whether it's, we're transitioning from being youth to an adult to being, a mature grown up, or transitioning towards something that is waiting for us, whatever it may be. I think that growth as a person, individual, character, spiritual, religious, whatever it is that you believe in, whether you're religious or not, I think is really important for you to truly be happy and show appreciation towards others. So, again, Sierra, if you were to see this video, um, again, I'm a small YouTuber, so I doubt it, but if you were to see it, I don't have anything malicious towards you. If you do see it, comment, but I think I'd be more curious about Kevin Samuels and his thoughts. Sierra, I'd be curious just as far as your religious perspective, what you think versus your personal one. But I don't want to shortchange, your opinion, especially, you don't know me, I don't know you, so it's just one of those things. We'll keep it at that. Um, it is what it is. Let me take another sip here before we continue on. check the chat screen. Okay, and we're up to date. The video we just finished was the Sierra one. This one got flagged. Again, if we go back to this Kylo Ren one, I'm actually shocked that this one did not get flagged. Like, what I'm inferring to and what actually goes on in this video, I am totally shocked that the Sierra one got flagged. And again, I don't know if it's just due to being able to see a woman's naked back in the Sierra one. Again, you don't see anything, you don't see any front, you don't even see, her backside since she has a skirt on. But what I infer in this Kylo Ren meme, and I created this one, I think it actually didn't take me too long. Like, I saw a picture online and it was talking about how people in Asia were using a bee sting to increase, the size of different body parts, whether it's, the male's genitalia or the woman's lips or anything like that. And there's supposedly science behind it. I would never personally, do it. Again, this is not medical or professional advice. I suggest that you consult your doctor before attempting to get stung by a bee, whether you're allergic or not. But I'm not saying that there is or isn't gains. This is total 100% speculation, 100% meme. I definitely do I enjoyed making this video, but it's just straight up stupid comedy that I can appreciate, and I hope it looks like many people appreciated it. In between 259 views, 16 likes, and then there was one person, they must have tried it and it didn't work or something. I don't know. They didn't leave a comment, so I don't know. The next video in regards to the GTA 5 friend flexes his new game room Metroid Dread short. Occasionally on this channel I do post conversations that I actually have between my friends, and some of them are comedic, others, they just are what they are. If you're, it's not your type of comedy. I decided to do that type of video just because it allows you to feel included if you don't have a close, network or a close circle of friends where you can just talk or vent about really stupid stuff. And I think that's one of the things that I most appreciate with having my friends in general, is just being able to have conversations. If we see things online, we can share it with each other. And this was kind of difficult to record because the conversations, I have to, of course, hide their names that show up, but still show what they say. And of course, having those conversations with the pace and the recreation, everything is really challenging because I have to use both my phone and my computer to edit it. As far as the time to create the content, it actually doesn't take very long, but to try to create this particular content using an editor, it takes a little bit more time than actually just recreating the footage. So the footage creation only takes maybe about 5 to 10 minutes. And then as far as the editing, especially since this was the first video that I created, I think it was maybe 25-30 minutes only on a video that has 21 seconds, because again, it was the first time I had ever created a video. After I had gotten everything the way I wanted it, the pace was incorrect and I wanted it to be quick, like a person was actually looking down at their phone and was enjoying a conversation. So that's where this series came from as far as conversations. It seems that a lot of people enjoyed it. We had 40 people who liked it with 4 people that disliked it. It's okay if you didn't like it. I have no problem with people who dislike the videos. If you could just leave me a little bit more context to why you didn't like the video, it would help me improve in the future. The next video is actually a video of this drunk gentleman getting out of his car. He almost trips on the rock. And then you can clearly see ice here. He's slipping and sliding for what seems like 15 or 20 seconds. And you can tell he's so drunk. This is actually very spectacular that he was able to do that. Some people ask me if I edited this to make it that long. The answer is no. He was definitely slipping and sliding on the ice for that total amount of time. So kudos to him. Chances are he still busted his butt when he hit the ground. But he lived from that, so that's the positive side of that video. I don't know what it is about people falling and busting their butt. It's always a good conversation and funny to watch, but if you were my friend and you fell, the first thing I would say is, "Are you okay?" Once you said yes, then I would laugh. I would laugh at you. I would not laugh until I knew you were okay, or until I took you to the hospital and they could take care of you. Then after the fact, then we can laugh about it together. But it's just one of those things that I think a lot of people can enjoy, is just when people fall, especially on ice, because it definitely happens more often than not. So let's continue on. Fallon Fox MMA. Fallon Fox MMA, again, when I had produced this video December 15th, I finished it roughly about a week or so before. There's been a lot of conversation in not only competitive sports, but also combat sports for both men and women, and specific individuals that uh, transition from either one gender to another. And I apologize if I'm not using, either correct terms or wording, but to make it something generic that way everyone can understand, there is concerns regarding biological males transitioning to biological females and then competing in not just regular sports, but the biggest concern are combat sports like octagon fighting, MMA, boxing, and whether or not, first, if it's considered fair or not, but also if there's inherent risk involved with the biological woman fighting a transitioning or transitioned individual. Um, as far as, how long have they been transitioning? Has it, I don't know how much time is required for you to be able to compete either in the state, national level, or Olympics. So let's say someone who is a biological male transitions to a female. If they've only been doing it for 3 to 6 months, compared to someone who transitioned and then waited, let's say, 2 or 3 years, or if they were someone who was a older biological male who's extremely fit and has, considerable muscle density as a biological male, and then transitions to a female in a very short amount of time. If the previously biological male athlete has any sort of advantage against the current female biological athletes, and whether or not they can be hurt more easily. So that's what I created this video off of. I think it speaks perfectly for the current environment. It has 95 views, which has, you know, I'm thankful for all 95 views. Of those 95, 8 people clicked the like button. I'm happy with that. I would have thought either it would have had less views or more views, but I think I think it's important to acknowledge, as someone who enjoys watching sports, especially competitive sports, it's good to see that if there's a good competition, like if it's a close fight in between the two athletes, whether it's, boxing, running, anything like that, it's always great to watch. Even if it's basketball, soccer, football, the nature of the game gives everyone who's a sports fan, that adrenaline rush. Everyone has that team that they like to follow. But at the same time, when it comes to competitive sports, yeah, it may be entertaining to watch the other person, see their training pay off, but I don't think anyone really wants any, permanent damage or brain damage associated. Or maybe that person can no longer fight now because uh, they've entered, what they thought was going to be a standard fight, and then it ended up being the Dark Souls of MMA, as I coined it. And if you're not familiar with Dark Souls is a older video game that's notorious for being ridiculously hard and very unforgiving, to where if you die, you absolutely lose everything and you have to start over. And there's been many people who have bought either Dark Souls 1 through 3 or the video game Bloodborne, and they played it and they rage quit. They never beat the game. They quit it within 1 or 2 days because it's a punishable video game that does not pull any punches. So that's the segue for that. That's a segue for that particular video. Pinching my elbow to prevent extreme laughter. Yeah, some of these videos, I'm actually surprised at how they turned out. I'm thankful for every view that I get on this channel. Anything that you all can provide me as guests, whether you're my subscriber or not, I will listen to any. I'm open to constructive criticism, and I think, if you thought this was funny, this was a little extreme, or, maybe you should have done this instead. As long as you tell me why and you're honest with it, then I can accept your opinion regardless of if it's good, bad, or indifferent. And I think, as being an individual, as being, one person in a world that has, literally billions of people, there's always going to be someone that's not going to agree with you, and that's just a given fact. Sometimes, there are more people close to you or more people within your direct vicinity, whether or not they're in your circle, that, enjoy dunking on you, especially when it's not warranted. But I think in some forms it's important to be open to constructive criticism, whether it's good, bad, or the ugly, especially if it comes from a place of sincerity. And then, as far as, the haters and the rest of them, just take that stuff as a grain of salt and keep it moving. So it's just one of those things. You can't make everyone happy, but I think, as far as YouTube is a very strange place. And for some of the other channels that I've been conversating with or met with, not only through their community chat, cooperative videos, the lead attorney and his mentees, or the people that he's teaching the live streaming thing to, I've met a lot of interesting people that come from different backgrounds, and I'm very thankful to be able to not only meet new people. And when I first started this channel, I initially thought that, I'll create these videos. I'm not 100% sure if, people will like them or not, but I was creating them more for me. And if, people enjoyed them, then we can kind of create our own little fun group or niche where we can share both, good times or bad times, or discuss topics, have conversations, whether it's one people or many people. I think would be beneficial, or in something that I wanted to create. With that being said, having these conversations with others where I've been going on other people's live streams and not only actively listening to what they have to say. There's a video later on where I joined a live stream. Let's see if I can find it. The karotjuicepodcast. He's a very intelligent young man. We had a great conversation, and he did exceptionally well, even though I put him on the spot. If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend that you watch the video. And I don't consider myself a overly philosophical person, but I think if I had to narrow down what I actively do every day, I like to think and I like to do. And I think it's equally important to spend half, if not more time creating a plan and reflecting, but it's not only just as important, if not equally important, to take action, because I believe that it's important to prepare, but it's important to occasionally take action when it's necessary. It's kind of like the old saying, you spend all day to sharpen your axe and you spend 1 hour to chop the tree. It's kind of like working out in the gym to reach the goals that you want, and then when it comes to performance day, whatever sport that you're doing, you practice how you want to perform. And I think having a plan or forming a plan, that way you're properly prepared, as well as taking action and then reflecting upon your actions, not only so you can hold yourself accountable, but it's also important for growth as well. In order to be able to grow as an individual, if you're not reflecting on the actions that you do, then it's very possible that you're going to repeat the same mistakes over again. So a little bit of food for thought, or a little bit of wisdom or insight, or however you want to word it. Definitely important to plan, and it's important to acknowledge that you can't plan for every scenario, but to also take action when necessary, and then take a moment to take a breath and really uh, digest on what happened, what you chose to do, admitting when things were out of your control, and maybe something that you thought was appropriate at the time, later on when reflecting upon it, maybe you think of a better way or a different way of doing it. So it's important to really even critique yourself for making, I guess, better decisions in the future. So, next video. Oh, the Nick Cannon effect. Excuse me, had to had to get another drink here. My throat's a little dry. So the Nick Cannon broke the internet, and this was never a topic that I planned to do. It just happened. Uh, it naturally happened. Like I'm trying to remember where I initially saw this.
Hey everybody. Today
Let me see if I linked it in. No, I did not link it in there. I believe I might have been watching a video by O'Shea Duke Jackson, and I think he might have been talking about it. If it wasn't him, I don't remember how I discovered this, but in this video, Nick Cannon appears and on a TV show, and everybody just basically starts talking about his junk. And I just thought this was the most hilarious thing. So are we not going to talk about Nick Cannon and that sausage he got stuffed in his pants? I just thought this was the most hilarious thing that was trending. This was trending everywhere. This was trending on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram, and I don't know why, but people were talking about his junk nonstop. And I'm trying to remember how many. Yeah, 1.7 million people were discussing this entertainment trending. So it's like we have serious problems going on in the world. And the most hilarious thing about this is, despite all these literal problems that we have in the world right now, damn all those problems, everybody cares about the silhouette of Nick Cannon's junk in this picture. And I just thought it was so funny. Like, if we had that many people like focused on, I don't know, literally anything, you think of anything, trying to solve water crisis, curing cancer, anything like that. If we had 1.7 million people focused, like if we as a if we as a people could focus, that be as focused, hyper focused as people were on this article, we could uh we could, basically colonize Mars and start a new civilization here. So this was a video that just organically started, and I'm trying to remember how I started with this, but it was just one of those things. I saw it, and I immediately started creating the animation for it. Obviously, for being a extremely small YouTuber like me, um, I have 907 views on this, and I had those views way before I started to really get any subscribers to my channel, and I was getting that many views to that. So, and again, everybody, the majority of people like this, 94.6%, excuse me, 94.6% with 35 likes, and two people that obviously were upset that they thought I was trolling them, or maybe they hate Nick Cannon, or maybe they're jealous of Nick Cannon and his bulge. But I just think that is the most hilarious, one of those most hilarious topics of 2021 was Nick Cannon, and I labeled it the Nick Cannon effect. So there are some serious points that I noted in both the short and the long video. The short video has a much better pace, but obviously the long video is 18 to 20 seconds longer, so you can take that with a grain of salt. But I enjoyed making both of those videos. I definitely think that's probably one of my favorite, and I believe it's in the bartender's recommendation playlist for my channel. So I would say, let's see, let's remember that I'm gonna mark that just to make sure we go back to that one. If I had any that were in my bartender's recommendation, which I already created, the Hanzo 13 video, drug dealer buys an exotic pet, would be in there. The Kevin Samuels short would be in there. And then the Nick Cannon's bulge should be in there. If not, I may throw it in there, but we'll find out. I'll take a look at that later. I want to keep on track with where we're going right now. Pinching my elbow to prevent extreme laughter. Yeah, let's see, up to date with all the messages. The next video, and again, I call these two loosely videos because, um, again, as far as content, it was important for me to post these two videos because I had tried to contact the lead attorney, and again, especially at this time and even now, a lead attorney has, I think, over 100 and maybe 50K subscribers. Lead. Oh, so roughly 150K subscribers. And when I sent him an email to his YouTube email, um, saying, "Hey, I created this video. I would like your honest opinion, what you think regarding this video. And if you don't like it, then I'll consider not posting this video." So I sent him this email. As far as I know, he's never watched the video, and I even included a little preview. So TLA, check your email. We'll post an update. I don't have access to um, or any ability to contact him. I'm not a large YouTuber, and I tried to contact some of his mentee people that are in his live streaming course to see if he had watched this. Until this day, I still don't know if he's watched this, read my email, or seen any of the 9 or 10 videos about him that I created. Um, I created a short as well as the full-size one again for depending on my viewers who watches it on their phone and who watches the full size. That way you could enjoy it. We will skip these two to go directly to the lead attorney animated video. These two videos, again, were in response to the email that I sent TLA. And I even sent TLA a private link for this video, and I think it encapsulates that whole live stream that he did. Again, not taking from TLA's hard work, but I think uh, recreating these scenarios to where it's a parody, where he was having a conversation with this young woman over these topics and putting it in a courtroom setting from a animated video game, I just thought was extremely enjoyable. This was probably, it's not only one of my longer videos, but I really enjoyed making this. I enjoy watching this video. I would highly recommend that you watch this video if you have time. I'm only going to play a few seconds of it just because I don't want to consume the time watching my own videos. If you want to watch them, you can watch them. If not, not. But I think I tried to be as sincere as possible when creating this video for TLA, and I thought he would enjoy it if he were to watch it. So we'll just play a couple seconds random.
Child is half of yours and half his. Do you think that just automatically, because of these 9 months that you're talking about, that the mother should be given the child and the father should have visitation because of these special 9 months when your body carried the child? You think you should get an advantage because of these 9 months? Yes.
That is one big pile of shit.
So that's how we start off. And I, to kind of show you how this video, if you've never seen this video before.
My helper and I were headed back to a job from lunch.
We got a commercial. We got a commercial, skip it. This was how the video originated. You have 4 people in a square. Shout out to the lead attorney. We have Judgy Justice before the billions, and I've never met this young lady here. I basically took this video that was split up through StreamYard in the podcast kind of setup version and made it into what we saw with, we have all these
Get an advantage because
we have all these different court angles and everything, and I think it really adds to the conversation, going back and forth, and you can kind of imagine it like it's, you can imagine it like it's people's court. So there's definitely lots of parody going on with the courtroom. We got the two of them. We, of course, have Ice-T as being the honorable judge. Shout out to Ice-T. I would love to hear what the lead attorney thinks regarding this. And TLA, if you ever watch this video, you can do a 100% video reaction on your stream if you think it'll create value for your channel. But I would love to absolutely hear your thoughts regarding this video. Even if you don't like it, you can tell me I was way off base. I was off in La La Land when I created this thing. But I think as far as the theme that you're talking with this young woman regarding having this conversation, the uh, the conversation speed back and forth, I did a lot of editing. That way it's fast paced. I can imagine, even though this isn't an actual show, normally with Judge Judy or Judge Joe Brown, and now they have, what is the guy's name? They have a new one where it's the host of Family Feud. I should know this. Family Feud. Oops, Feud. Host. Steve Harvey. Yeah, it's Judge Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey isn't a actual judge, but he does have a show. It's called Judge Steve Harvey, where he makes his own decisions in regards to relationships. And I think it would seriously be funny if the lead attorney created a setup for his channel that was similar to how I did in this video. He wouldn't have to be judge, but to have conversations back and forth with his guests. I think it would be huge. Take it with a grain of salt if you decide to use that idea. Just remember me, TLA. No, I'm just playing. I I think that would be my constructive criticism that I would give to TLA. And TLA does a great job keeping his subscribers and viewers active as far as engagement, keeping the questions and everything else. But I don't think I'll like Steve Harvey as a judge. Yeah, I've only briefly watched it one time. Steve Harvey does a lot of stuff. Let's start off with that. Steve Harvey, he does or did Family Feud. He does or did his own talk show where he's talking about relationships between men and women. And again, sometimes his relationship advice can be either one-sided with men or one-sided with women. It just really depends on the conversation, and I'm not saying that Steve Harvey is flippy floppy. I think when it comes to those sincere moments, um, the advice is what it is. But as far as this Steve Harvey judge, he basically has, from the one episode I saw, he basically has the two sides come in. The couple explains what was going on, whether the relationship was good, bad, or indifferent. Someone cheated on somebody, and then he awards the defendant or the plaintiff whatever he decides to award. He can't force them to pay the other person, but it's a Judge Judy style court system where he's sitting up on the stand, but he basically awards gifts and prizes to people who he feels are due reward, if you want to call it that. It's a very bizarre way of doing it, but I guess since he's not an actual judge, then that's all he can do. And they do say at the beginning and end of the show, this is not a real, court. He's not a real judge. Decisions that they make, aren't held up in a court of law, because to pretend you are a person of the law, whether it's a police officer practicing law without a license or being a judge, you can very much go to jail for that. So they're very careful of saying that he's not a judge, it's not a real court, and then the decisions they make don't affect the outside court system. So yeah, I think that would definitely be cool if TLA ended up doing at least one stream. Maybe his audience wouldn't like that. I think it would be funny and entertaining. But TLA, keep doing what you're doing, because you obviously are considerably big. And in the grand scheme of things, I'm just a small YouTuber. That's my constructive criticism. You can take it or leave it. For this next video, I created a short of this video. Again, the original video that I had created, let me see if I can find it. Let's delete some of these because we're getting a lot of unnecessary windows. Let's see. Okay, we got the full video. On the full video, it should have his video. And of course, I gotta play this silly commercial. Okay, his original video came from a live stream that was an hour and a half long. The video that I created, even though it shows, oh, and I got two of the same one. Even though it shows 10 minutes and 32 seconds, I actually narrowed his video from, again, 1.5 hour live stream to his 14-minute clip. I took the 14-minute clip and I believe I narrowed it down to 6. Yeah, it stops here at roughly 6 minutes and 38 seconds. After 6 minutes and 38 seconds, the rest of it is actually reflection, having honest conversations with different YouTubers and streamers. We have MTR, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. We have Poor Man's Podcast. We have Abba and Preach. We have Kevin Samuels. And of course, TLA. As far as sincerity for the conversation, I think this particular video, this video is definitely one of my recommendations for any of my subscribers to watch. It should definitely be on the playlist. It's one of those conversations that I think we should have in our community, not only the African American community, but just as a societal community, to hopefully resolve a lot of reoccurring problems. And one being, the individual people are making decisions without necessarily planning a lot, or occasionally doing things that have repercussions. And I think it's important to actively and properly select who you're going to be having sex with. But you would think that the people that you choose to have sex with, there's at least, something going on to where you can actively trust them. Let's say that, you don't necessarily want to have a relationship with that person. you guys are just friends, but at least in some shape or form that you can actually trust this person and that person can trust you. And then making good decisions on, using protection. That way we're not repeating issues with uh, either teen pregnancies or unplanned pregnancies. And again, I will admit that, it's impossible to eradicate 100% of unplanned pregnancies just because, all birth control, unless you're going to use all of them at once, or say if you've had a vasectomy or, hysterectomy or anything like that to where you can't have kids anymore, then there really is no 100% method, but I believe at least choosing the right person to be with and choosing the right person to share yourself with is a step forward in the right direction. So again, I don't think I want it to be said that in regards to Judgy Justice in this video, I don't know her, she doesn't know me, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in this video. Wow, we've been streaming for an hour and 31 minutes. Who would have thought? I only planned on this being a 30-minute stream, and now we are an hour and 31 minutes. If you're watching this after the fact, or if you just came in, please hit the like button. If you've already hit the like button, I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming in and stopping in to not only listen to what I have to say, but also sharing any comments, your chat for Miss Sophia. If you're still here, I appreciate having you here. That way we can actively have a conversation, even if it's a short one. I'm very appreciative for anyone who comes in, even if it's for a short moment. Okay, let's go down. We'll go back to the Weave Bandits. There was the Weave Bandit short, which is 57 seconds long, and then the Weave Bandit explained. When I explain memes, I call them meme-splained. It's just a play on words. I know it's incredibly corny, but I think while just having the joke itself is great, there were actually several women that went into a beauty supply store. And again, I don't know if national chains of Mid-K Beauty Supply or what your local beauty supply store would be that sells wigs, weave, hair care products, things. If you're a beautician, cosmetologist, you do hair, things like that. Basically, these women went into a beauty supply store. One had a baby with her, the other was actively pregnant, and they actually ended up robbing the store, both of them. And there's actually a third one here. The third one here is slightly off camera and behind this number 11 sign. You can actually see her when she pokes out. But out of the three women, she was the only one to get caught. As far as I know, these two women are still out and about. But as far as there's a lot of problems here. I wanted to address them. If you're an adult and you're making exceptionally bad choices, and again, I don't know any of these women don't know me. I'm just trying to have a fair discussion. I think if you're going to do something that's very destructive or put yourself at risk, then you need to make decisions as an adult to not put those closest to you, whether it's a loved one, in this case, this baby that she was holding in her hand and the other woman being pregnant when they were actively robbing the store. Just because they're innocent, and I'm meaning the unborn baby and this child are innocent, and there's no reason to put them at risk. So that's kind of what I touch bases on in the meme explained video. Uh, as far as, in retrospect, we look at these two videos, the meme was definitely more viewed than the explanation portion. And again, I take this, as a grain of salt as far as, what you guys want to see versus what is actually seen. However, for the people, out of the 6 people watched it, they gave me 3 likes. So I know I at least did something right in this discussion. And then, of course, for the people who like to see the funny stuff, we got 5 likes on that one. So both of these, I appreciate your feedback regarding this. I think it's definitely a problem that's not only occurring in our community, but also occurring in like our community as a whole, regardless of what race you are, and just making actively good decisions for those that are closest to you. I'm not sure if this one is on my recommended playlist. I think it is a good video to watch, but I don't think it's one of my favorite. It's still a good-natured video that talks about a lot of the problems that we should address as a community, but I think the meme is funny, but I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily put either of those on my playlist, and I would have to, let's take a look to see what's on. Epic mashup, guys speak, all video, clip it. Maybe it's on the next page. Short. Bartender recommendations, that's what we want. Okay, the Nick Cannon Bulge was on there, but the Weave Bandit one is not on there. So going on, there are no yams. Christmas meme. This is another one of those conversations where I was having it with, some of my closest friends. And again, allowing all my subscribers to kind of experience what that's like if you do not have a close niche of friends where you can just send each other stupid text messages and being able to enjoy conversation. It's a very light humor video. I think it's something that everyone can watch. Whether or not you think it's funny, I think is, something that's left for interpretation. There were 3 likes on it. I appreciate it. 15 views. Again, I appreciate the views. It's a very short video talking about the Matrix character Trinity. Matrix Revolutions was coming out roughly about this time, so that's why I created it. And there's some fake videos on how big Trinity's booty is, and it's just guys having that conversation, and it's like, yeah, that isn't real, right? And then the conversation that comes from having that with your friends. Behind the brick animation, this was the first video that I created where I basically show what I do in order to create a lot of the stop motion animations. I'm actually very surprised that, some of you actually watched this video compared to some of the other videos, which is actually really cool. I'll have to go back and look at analytics to see how many people were actually subscribers versus being just a visitor. And again, I appreciate you both, but I think it'd be interesting to find out if you all want to see more of this behind the scene style footage of, we have the Kevin Samuels video, and then I show behind the scene where this is actually what the screen looked like. It's just a green screen background, and we have Kevin Samuels right here. and then I go back through and I actually had to edit uh, everything in order to make that video. So it it took some work. Um, the actual background setup, this candle, this drink, this chair is actually real. I actually got that from a Kevin Samuels video when he goes to get his drink, and I recorded his little gravity thing kind of swirling around, the TV moving, and then I entered the Legos in along with the digital conversation that they have back and forth through the magic of computer. I also explain how I do the mouths. You can kind of see this digital mouth that I have to put in on every single frame. Um, I'm trying to remember, I think this was, I say in the video how many stop motion videos this was, and given it's come, I'm sneaking out, but I will catch the rest of the replay. Thanks for the live stream info. I appreciate it, Miss Sophia. You're always welcome to come back, and I'm sorry that I missed you when you left, but you're always welcome here. And as far as anyone else that comes in, if you feel free, you can leave a comment, like, subscribe if you want to see more of this content, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So, going on, we have the digital mouse. And again, in this particular video, when I actually skip on the frames, this was kind of a pain in the butt. This section is 408 frames. The girl, I believe, was 226 frames. So when I say frames, that means how many pictures I had to take with my camera. So I took 600 frames to make a 59-second or 60-second video. And given it was a very enjoyable experience, it was definitely, I learned a lot and I grew a lot, and I think it was definitely worth it. I learned how to kind of calculate and do all these things. You can see here this little box, that's the audio slipping in when he talks. That way I can connect the lips to the video. It's one of those things to where if you don't try to do it, then you're not going to learn. So that was the, oops, close that. That was the Kevin Samuels behind the brick. The community conversations, visiting Carrot Juice podcast. I'm trying to remember how I discovered Carrot Juice podcast. I believe I discovered him through the League Attorney. And then was fortunate enough to join in on one of his live streams. It was actually a really fun conversation that I happened to pop in at the spur of the moment. And in the video, I kind of do an animated depiction where I'm leaving my bar, or quote unquote bar, leaving my bar to go visit him. And then we have the transition of me going over to his channel. You see me walking up, and then I walk in, and then of course here we have Monte Lee from the Carrot Juice podcast, where he and I begin to have a conversation. He was nice enough to invite me onto his live stream. Shout out to Carrot Juice podcast. I appreciate your patience and, allowing me to sit down with you and have an honest conversation, as well as ask you a very difficult question on the spur of the moment. I have a lot of respect for you being able to answer, and again, being able to answer some of these questions on the spur of the moment says a lot for you, not only as an individual, but also as a man, and also as someone who's committed to their craft on YouTube. So I appreciate being able to have this conversation. And it was kind of interesting how it evolved, where I walk in, He acknowledges me on the original video. And again, his video, again, was the same format as the lead attorney, where we have him in the window, he's discussing, and then I come in, and here I am, and here he is. And so just kind of how it evolved from just two people having a conversation to me, going to visit him, and in this setup, I just love, there's something that's very natural about this. So again, Carrot Juice Podcast, if you'd like, we can plan to have a talk regarding anything in the future. It was a great conversation. I appreciate you not only doing such a good job answering my question, but allowing me to create this video to hopefully provide content for other people, not only in our community, but also on YouTube, to be able to learn from this. So, salute to you, sir. Let me close some of these windows, and we will continue on. The New Year's resolution, I think both the short and the full video, I think the videos, I tried to create them from a point of sincerity, as well as providing, a little bit of advice or insight to my channel or the YouTube community. Obviously, I didn't expect it to really take off, and compared to a lot of the other videos, the viewership is very low, and I'm okay with that. But I think there is something extremely important about the message that I was trying to portray in these videos that I feel, if we look at it at its core, depending upon your personal belief, and let's try to remove either negativity or positivity, and just be neutral. Coming from a place of sincerity, being humble, and then just showing individuals appreciation, not only shows people that are in your inner circle that you care for them, but also it allows you to grow as a person. And I feel like these two videos, again, you guys can tell me by either leaving a comment in this live stream or a comment in the New Year's resolution videos on what you think. I think a lot of growth can come from people watching these videos, and while the message itself can be extremely obvious, and there may be some individuals either on YouTube that feel that appreciation or sincerity can be also misconstrued as being a simp. And I think as long as we try to be sincere about actively nourishing ourselves as an individual as well as a person, and appreciating others that are closest to us, says a lot about ourselves. So maybe you watch this video and you think showing appreciation and sincerity towards people is being a simp. If that's the case, I respect your opinion. I disagree. But if you agree with me, you can leave a comment as well, and we can continue to have that discussion at a later date. But I think that is one of the steps towards being happy as a person. Let's go to the next. We're going to skip the painting Manosphere Lego minifig one. We'll come back to that one. And we're going to address Well, actually, no. We'll do that one first. Painting the Manosphere Lego minifig lead attorney. Again, I've made quite a few videos regarding the lead attorney since I've created this channel. I have no clue if he's seen any of them, but again, I'd be curious on what his opinion is. I have had the opportunity to speak with him in his Patreon live stream, and while I've been in his live stream and, super chatted messages to him before, I think it was actually the first time he really got to speak to me and me speak to him. And it was actually a very nice conversation. And we were discussing whether or not uh, me being able to not show my face as a person that wants to do live streaming, if it's possible or not. And I think the advice that he gave, while in some forms it was brutally honest, at the same time I respected it dearly. He says it can be done, but it would be more difficult. And he said that while you don't show your face, and once you get big enough, people will start to wonder what it is that you're hiding as a person. And again, that's why I had mentioned at the very beginning that it's not necessarily that I have anything to hide or I'm shy and don't want to show my face. It's just more so the consideration of where I work at and being able to freely discuss or say whatever that needs to be said or that you guys want to talk about or anything like that. So maybe one day I will show my face. That'll be something to consider. For the time being, if I had to make a commitment towards anything, maybe I'll show my face if one day I get 100K subs or something ridiculous like that. That way, I won't have to feel pressured to show my face if I decide not to show my face. But if I get 100K subs, then yeah, I'll deeply consider it. How about that? I'll deeply consider it. I think it would be cool to get paid by YouTube, but it's not necessarily something that needs to be done, I guess. I enjoy making these videos, and if you guys find it, extremely hilarious or even mildly entertaining, then I'm happy to make them. It's just, I guess, the expectation or what's happened even in the past 28 days. I think I've picked up at least 100 subs, which is kind of crazy when I think about it. So I have a little bit of momentum going. So we're gonna keep doing what I've been doing, and hopefully it works out. Is really really it. But we'll have to see how it goes. I don't know. This video with the lead attorney. I had mentioned that I hand painted Kevin Samuels figure, and I have a bunch of other figures that I did paint, but we have the lead attorney figure, and I'm actually using a push pin and a thimble to paint and to scrape the paint off of his suit. And I actually redo this several times to not only get the suit as well as the tie the right color. You also notice if you end up putting it thick, you also have to remove paint or press it, that way it actually appears flat. Fortunately for the lead attorney, I didn't have to do as much painting as the Kevin Samuels one. However, it was definitely still a challenge, I would definitely say. So it was still a lot of fun. I was able to record painting the lead attorney. Of course, he has his little briefcase there. Again, I do not think the lead attorney has seen any of these videos, and that's cool, but I would definitely be interested to hear what he has to say specifically regarding the children don't need father figures, only children don't need fathers, only father figures animated movie. I would love to hear what he has to say regarding that. The other videos, I think it would be cool, but I think this one right here would definitely, that would make my day. That would definitely make my day. These other videos where we have both short and full, creating the full series, I believe it was 5,000 frames, which means 5,000 pictures, 5,000 pictures to make the whole video, which is roughly, again, 7 minutes long. Again, the whole movie itself isn't 100% stop motion, but I still needed all those frames to make it coherent, and then combine that with the TLA original live stream. And again, I used it in a similar manner where if we go down, the original video, of course, commercial. The original video is again in the same setup. We have TLA doing his live stream, and then we have his guest here. Taking this particular setup and then making it into a office therapy visit, I think is just absolutely funny. And I thought this was a great story, TLA. I respect you highly for sharing it and creating a video that just kind of evolved organically to this scenario with the facial expressions. We have me right here with my pen and paper, and I actually do write. I do write in my notebook, which is portrayed with this animation. So, if you haven't seen the video, you can either watch it in the series or you can watch the full 1 through 8. The 1 through 8 isn't incredibly long. It's only 7 minutes and 14 seconds long. I did break it down into 7 parts, with the full version being the 8th one. The reason why I created it like this is to make it more digestible to people who wanted to watch it. And again, you're not always going to have those people that sit down and watch the whole video. If you did sit down and watch the whole video, I appreciate it. But it's so much easier to, especially if you don't have a lot of time, to watch videos that are shorter than 1 minute long. So I tried to create the 1 through 7 series videos in a way that's digestible for someone who only watches my channel part-time. It was definitely interesting to see people's thoughts regarding it. And again, this is just one of those stories that it's either going to resonate with you or not. Again, there was nothing malicious intended for Keisha, who's the girl in the video. According to TLA, that's not the actual girl's name. She's just referenced as Keisha. It's important to surround yourself with good people. Choose good people and make better choices is what the video summary is. It's crazy how that thing turns out. I definitely would say that's going to be one of the videos on my bartender recommendation, and I believe I believe it is, yep, it's right here. 1 through 8. So, great video to watch. Again, it is pretty far out there. If you don't like hard humor videos, it may not be for you. There is some adult natured stuff in there, but again, since it's not only quick, it's Lego, and it's done out of parody, I wouldn't restrict this video and say you need to be at least 18 to watch it, but there are a lot of things that come up in conversations amongst men, whether it's in the barber shop or amongst, your closest friends. I think a lot of people have crazy stories like this. Um, it's also in the Guy Speaker Guy Conversation playlist as well. Um, but if it's not your cup of tea, you don't have to watch it. The life test video, we're actually coming to the very end of the 50 videos, and it only took us how long we've been going? 2 hours. It took us 2 hours to discuss 50 videos. If you're still with me watching this, or if you watch this on the replay, thank you very much for watching the replay. This is definitely, I did not intend to live stream for this long, so I hope you all not only enjoy what you've been listening to so far, if this is something that you enjoy doing or enjoy watching in the future, leave a like for this video or leave a comment down in the comment section on how I can improve. The life test video. The life test video is regarding people's response to making choices, and I actually did release a video called The Porch Pirate, and again I skipped over this one because the Porch Pirate is the meme version of the full version where it just has the joke and the punchline. Again, depending upon which you prefer, it looks like 118 people watched it, 9 likes. So 9 people appreciated just the joke. But again, I like to have discussions regarding why it is that I did the video. Again, it doesn't necessarily reflect it as much as far as the viewership, but for those of you that did watch this, I appreciate that you did, and you actually showed appreciation for the video. This one right here is in regards to making positive choices or good choices in life, and how instant gratification is leading people astray. It's hard not to be distracted. I firmly believe that everybody has something that they like or that they want, whether they recognize, that desire or not. It could be something simple as chocolate or something severe such as alcohol. Depending upon, how serious it is, it may require more of a sudden acknowledgement to solve those problems. However, making good decisions and surrounding yourself with positive people to make these decisions in the future is extremely important as a person. So I recommend that you watch this video. I don't think it's in the bartender's recommendation. Oh no, yes it is. It is in the bartender's recommendation. That's why I recommend that you watch it. It's a severe scenario where a guy is trying to steal stuff and he gets caught. Fortunately, the thief was able to walk away. However, it could have turned out poorly. Um, it's a best case scenario of a worst case scenario, but there are some serious things going on in the video. If you have kids that you're wanting to show this video, I would just say consider the maturity of the person that you're going to show it to. However, if you watch it yourself and you think it's fine, then it's okay to share. But I'm just forewarning you. Last but not least, number 50. Number 50, the internet reaction to the Drake hot sauce scandal. This one is a mashup collaboration in between Gaston's World, Tyrone Magnus, Kevin Samuels, the lead attorney, Playback, and I believe that's everyone. Let me double check because I know I cited Tyrone Magnus, Gaston's World, Playback, the lead attorney, and Kevin Samuels. In regards to this video, if you're unfamiliar, the Drake had a scandal where he was messing around with a Instagram model, and they ended up going back to his hotel where they engaged in sexual relations. He was trying to dispose of certain things, and she got access to it, which is where this meme was created. I did create other videos off of this video, but I think this long video, which is almost 10 minutes long, summarizes everyone's thoughts regarding this, whether it's positive or negative, big brain plates, stupid, lawyers' reaction like TLA, Kevin Samuels, and all those other YouTubers on what they thought regarding this. I think there's something in here that everyone can appreciate and learn from. It's important to, again, make the proper decisions on who you surround yourself with. However, people make the short-term decisions looking for that instant gratification. So it's one of those things, learn from other people. If not, learn from your own mistakes, and hopefully you don't make the same mistake yourself. So we've been going now for, looks like, 2 hours and 8 minutes, which I am extremely surprised that I went this long. Again, thank you for everyone that popped in. If by chance you do watch this video in its entirety, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for my previous subs that found me when I first created. Thank you for all the new subs that recently came in. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope and plan to create interesting and entertaining content that you will enjoy. I'm not 100% sure if I'll continue doing live streaming. Maybe I'll do live streams on the capstone celebrations. But if it's something that you're interested in trying to do, we'll figure out how to at least portray myself on camera without specifically showing my face. So thank you everyone who watched me up till here. I'll probably end up either reposting this video for replay or segmenting it into individual videos for those of you that don't have time to watch the whole thing. But I just want everyone to know that I do appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you. Have a wonderful evening. I hope your weekend was as awesome as you are. Have a wonderful week. This is your last call for insight.